Let's get it.
Hey, it's Bryan with DD214 Transport. Please like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. Tonight, we're going to talk about Hotshot trucking and the business that ebbs and flows. As everybody and every business ebbs and flows, we're going to tell you how to deal with it in this industry. All right, before we get too far down the pike, let's thank our veterans and first responders for all they do and all they continue to do for this country. We would not be the country we are without them. All right, gas prices are up. This is weird. I'm not exactly sure why they're up like this, but they're up to an average of $3.47 a gallon, and that's 2 cents from a week ago. So, yeah, not exactly sure. And gas prices, as you go around town, they're all over the place. Some are up, some are where they were last week. It's just, I'm not sure what the fluctuation is at the moment. All right, don't forget, guys, coming up August 24th through the 30th, inspectors are going to be focused on brakes and rotors on a week-long nationwide blitz, okay? They're going to put you out of service if they see any problems at all with your brakes or rotors. All right, that's just it in a nutshell. All right, pictures of the week. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I think this is the DD214 staff just kind of hanging out in the backyard, smoking and joking.
Getting vitamin D.
Getting vitamin D. Now, I honestly, I just saw this the other day when I was going out through the country to work on a trailer, and I just had to stop, man. Them guys were just hanging out. I thought it was pretty cool. All right, so this is Robert, picture of the week. He picked this up and he had to tarp it, and I'm sure he was cussing, but that's a decent load. And this is Robert again. I told you we have a ton of Roberts and a ton of Johns, so that's a nice looking load. And I think this is Jan. I think it is. And again, if I'd smart enough and took a few minutes, I would make this work out for me. I know that's Steve. And guys, look where he's backed into. If you're struggling with your backing, you're going to have a hard time in this industry because we back through tons of buildings. It's just the way it is. All right. Under the hood this week, we are still working on equipment reset. This is all equipment reset, trucks, trailers, van, everything. We go through them. We make sure everything's okay. We check our equipment, making sure we have no problems with the load securement gear, making sure they don't have knots in them or cuts, all that stuff. The other thing you want to do at this time, and I do it twice a year, is I go back through my subscriptions that through the last 6 months, I've picked up things that I thought I would need. And I go back and look to make sure that I have canceled the ones I'm not going to use. So do that as well. The other thing is I've been working out of the van for trailer work. That's me working on Robert's trailer. He come in with brake issues and Guys, I had two magnets that had just basically blown apart and was just spinning around in the drum. So we got those fixed up, and then I worked on a trailer camper for a guy. I'm going back tomorrow for that. So tonight, dealing with the business's ebbs and flows. If you're not sure what an ebb and a flow is, an ebb is a downturn. A flow is an upturn. Okay. This graph that I'm showing you right here demonstrates perfectly the trucking industry. Not all industry ebbs and flows like this. Some will ebb in one area or in 1 month and flow the rest of the year. But in our industry, if you can see the blue line to the, I guess it's the left. Is it the left on you? Okay, so the blue line on the left, you'll see expansion. And if you make that the end of January, 1st of February, and you follow it all the way up to the 1st of June would be the peak. Okay. That's your flow. That's when trucking is running. Now we are in June. What happens in June? School lets out. People go on vacation. Things slow down. Okay. So you follow it all the way down, and you got June, July, and at the bottom, at the total recession, at the bottom will be August. Okay. Now, what happens at the end of August? What happens is school goes back in. Okay. So summer break's over. People are back into their normal routine. They're off vacation. So at the trough is at the end of August, and we're looking at September. September, and it goes up to November, and then the first part of December. You might in some years go as far as, the first week in December, maybe even the first 10 days. Okay. And there again, that is your expansion. That is your flow. Now, what happens in December? We have Christmas. Christmas parties start about the second or third week in December. So now, look what happens. It goes back down, and it'll go down until it hits the end of January, and the cycle starts again. That is your normal cycle for this industry. Okay. Now, you have what's called macro and micro economics. Macro is the 1,000-yard view. Okay. So we're going to look at the 1,000-yard view and say, what's going on right now in the 1,000-yard view? Well, we're hitting, let's remove this a second. We're hitting the summer months. That's one. The next thing we're dealing with is this trade war we're having to put up with. And in that trade war, you have absolutely no guidance from anywhere. 1 second, it's 145% tariffs. And the next second, it's been paused for 90 days. Now, what that does for business is it makes everybody nervous, and nobody wants to spend. Nobody wants to make big moves. Nobody wants to do anything. They just sit. Okay. So this is a little bit of what we have going on as well. Now, how does that affect us? Well, if people aren't buying things as far as like construction equipment, if they're not starting projects, they're not buying steel, they're not buying equipment, we're not moving things to and fro. Okay, so that's another little tidbit right there. All right, so rolling with the punches, navigating the ebbs and flows of hotshot trucking. Now listen, Whether you're driving through the heartland, cross country, or loading in a shipyard, I want to talk today about something real, something every one of us deals with, and that's the ebbs and flows of this industry. One month, you're stacking miles and stacking checks. The next month, crickets. Fewer loads, tighter rates, more stress. Okay. So, how do you keep your wheels turning and your head on straight? That's more the problem when the industry slows down. That's today's mission. I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks, some ideas to flow by, and maybe help you out here a minute. All right. So sit back and let's go through this thing. All right. Segment 1 is going to be recognizing the signs. Okay. That's the first step. I'm telling you what the signs are right now. So let's call it like it is. Hotshot trucking is not, and I will repeat, not a steady paycheck. It's feast or famine. You're your own mechanic, your own accountant, your own bookkeeper, and you better have the instincts of a weatherman and a Wall Street trader to roll into this. Okay. What are some of the early signs that the market's shifting? Load boards slow down. Rates drop. Remember, the rates are based on supply and demand. If you have one truck and 500 loads, you can call the shot, put your rates out there for what you want. But if you got 500 loads, one load and 500 trucks, rates going to be crap. So fuel prices jump, but rates don't. We see that right now a little bit. And you're sitting more than you're hauling. Now, don't ignore those signs. You got to stay alert and stay flexible. Okay? Stay alert, stay flexible. You guys, this is recognizing the signs. Now, segment 2, what to do when it slows down. Okay? When the work dries up, first thing you don't do is panic. Don't panic. What you have to do is understand what's happening and pivot. Okay? Not panic, but pivot. Here's how. Okay? Well, number 1, you make sure you lower your operating cost. You cut the fat. You downgrade unused apps, just like I said a minute ago when I said we're working on our stuff. You reduce idle time. You optimize your routing. It saves fuel. This is a survival season, not a splurge season. Now, you expand your reach. Number 2. Are you just running in one region? Time to explore new lanes. Don't be afraid to deadhead out to make money. You can't sit, guys. You can't sit. Strengthening relationship. Call the brokers you've been working with. Let them know you're still rolling. Offer reliabilities when others are ghosting them. Now, you can also offer specialized services. Okay. You can do power only. I'm not crazy about the RV transport, but it's there. You can also do hotshot recovery. We recover our own stuff, but there's other places out there that they break down and they need to be recovered. You need to let people know that you have that service. But now's the time to use your versatility to your advantage. The simple fact that you can unhook and go hook to something else, and not just a semi-trailer, but you can hook to a boat, you can hook to a camper, whatever. But you have those options to make moves where a lot of drivers do not. Okay. Segment 3, stacking during the feast. This is where most people fail. Am I right? Most people fail right here. So now you want to flip the coin. What do you do when it's hot? Money's flowing. When you're in a flow, what do? You bank it. You build it. You plan for the dip because it will come, and it comes a couple times a year. Save for downtime. Set up a reserve account and treat it like a bill you pay every week. Okay. Now, for the drivers that lease on with us, we have a reserve account we set up for them, but we also advise them that they need to have a reserve account for their stuff, for their bills. Invest in your truck and trailer. When you got cash, take care of the maintenance, upgrades, tires, because those things break when it's least convenient. Learn the industry cycles, shipping peaks and valleys. I just told you what they were. Construction season, holiday rushes, know your market rhythm. Okay. This is another part of the constant learning, the constant studying your craft. Now, the last one here is don't blow your profit on toys. Buy tools. Buy an asset, not a liability. Buy tools, not toys. Expand your business before you expand your garage. Okay? These are solid tips. Mental grit and staying focused. Now, let's be honest. It's not about cash flow. These slow seasons mess with your head. You start questioning the hustle and you feel like giving up. Now, here's the situation. You have a lot of windshield time, a lot. And if you fill that windshield time with negativity, you'll kill yourself. You'll be done. The truth is, you don't build a legacy in the good times. You just don't. You build it when the wheels stop and you keep pushing. You know, we survived COVID. Why? Because we didn't stop. We just kept moving. We survived the downturn after COVID. Why? Because we didn't stop. Success in this business isn't about luck. It's about endurance. Okay. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You got to stay grounded. You stick to your values. You stay disciplined in your habits. Connect with other drivers. Don't isolate yourself. Keep improving. You read, you learn, you adapt, you overcome. That's how it works. If you're doing anything less, you're going to fail. All right. Stack cash when it's hot. Again, this is segment 5. When the iron is hot and you're on a flow, you swing hard, but you swing smart. Don't ball out after a few big weeks. I want to tell you how many times I have seen, this is a big one right here. You know, so many times I've seen guys have great weeks, absolutely wonderful weeks. And the next Monday after they go home, they're broke. And it's like, what happened? How do you do that? Well, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. That's not the way you do things, man. If you want to add a piece of equipment, you don't take all your cash and throw it at that piece of equipment. You say, hey, I need this piece of equipment, or for example, I want to add this toolbox. You don't take all the money you made that week and add that toolbox. You say this toolbox is, say, $1,000. I'm going to save $250 a week. For 4 weeks, I'm going to add the toolbox. Okay. That's how you do it. If you throw all your money out the door on anything, you have no cash flow. Cash flow is king, guys. Without it, your business will die. Save for taxes and truck repairs. Okay. This is something you have to do. You have to set this money aside. You pay off debt and you stack reserves. Always pay off debt and stack reserves. You reinvest. When you get ready to take money out of your stacked reserves, you reinvest in your business. You buy new or better straps, new or better tires, reset your toolbox to new and better tools. The apps you use, make sure you're using them. If you have them and you're not using them, you're wasting money. If you don't treat the good weeks like it's a gift, the slow weeks will feel like punishment. Okay? That is an absolute fact. Mind over miles, segment 6. Let's close with a mental side of this. When the bank account is light and the wheels ain't moving, your head can go dark. Okay? Especially when you're doing negative windshield time. But you got to remember this. Number one, it's not on here. And it's a saying that I really like. And that is, to date, you have survived everything that life had to throw at you. You made it before, you'll make it again. You're not alone. Every driver hits a dry spell. Every driver goes through ebbs and flows. You keep learning, you keep improving, and you stay connected. You adapt, you overcome. Hotshot trucking is about grit. This isn't a job for the weak or the lazy. It's for the driven, the disciplined, the DD214 kind of folk. Okay? This is a serious business, and you've got to treat it that way. Let's talk about it. I don't know what happened to my let's talk about it thing there. It just sort of blew up on me. So let's talk about it a little bit. Do we have any questions at all? No questions. Everybody's just got it done, and I'm happy about it. But let me tell you what happened this week is we had a couple questions come in over the internet, and I thought I would add them in. So first question. Well, do I have a first question? I do. Question 1. How do you stay motivated when it feels like you're running for peanuts? Well, and this is from James out of Amarillo, Texas. It's like this, James. I've been there. You haul 400 miles. You're making $500 just to make a move, and you wonder what the hell you're doing. But here's the key. And the key is you got to zoom out. It's not about this one run. It's about the year, the lifestyle, the freedom. You're building a brand, a reputation, and a future. You have to focus on why you're doing this and not just the pay. Because if you focus just on money and you got into this for just money, you got into it for the wrong reason. Because as the owner of a business, as I've said many, many times, you're the first to show up, the last to leave, and the last to get paid. Okay? If you need a job, that's something different. You need to go hire on to someplace and have a job. Okay, I hope that helps you out. And we'll go on to question number 2. Do you think it's better to take low a low paying load to keep rolling or wait for something better? And I think that's Letitia. Is that Letitia?
Mhm.
In Birmingham, Alabama. Well, it's a great question, but it depends. And it really does depend. If you're in a dead zone and something gets you out to a better market, take it. But don't make low paying loads your standard. You got to know what your minimum rate per mile is. If you're moving below it too often, you're bleeding muddy. So sometimes waiting one day puts you ahead by 3. Now, I thank you for your question. I hope that helps you, but I want to go on to this a little different. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick story here. This happened to me in Maine. I took a load to Maine. Hate Maine. Love Maine. Hate going into Maine because you can't get out. So I ended up taking a load up there. Nothing was paying anything coming out of there. You know, anything that was coming out of there was garbage, and it was extremely heavy. So we called this one broker up, and he had 18,000 pounds going, and it was paying like $1.50 a mile or something. Well, you do your calculation on that, and I figured that I could deadhead out of there cheaper than I could put that 18,000 pounds on there because I would have actually lost money. Okay, so there's your little number you got to work with. You know that truck and trailer, most of us get about 12 and a half miles per gallon deadheading. Okay, so you figure that number out and then come back to 18,000 pound container. I'm going to get 6 miles to the gallon. Wear and tear on my equipment, and it wasn't paying anything. So I turned the load down and ended up deadheading out of Maine. That's what I did. So you have to not be afraid to just leave that stuff sit. Don't wear your equipment out hauling for zero. That would have been zero. A lost day, lost money. Okay. Let's go to, this is the last question I had online. And it says, what's one mistake you see new hotshot drivers make when things slow down? Well, I appreciate that question, and it happens a lot. And this is from Rob Goodwin out of West Virginia. And, normally what happens is as soon as things slow down, people start grabbing stuff and just running garbage freight. I don't believe in that. There comes a time when I'll park my truck. If freight gets to the point to where you can't run on it and you can't make money doing it, breaking even is losing, guys. Understand that. Breaking even is absolutely, you're losing money because you still have wear and tear on your vehicle. Okay. So you can't run around and break even. But the first thing most people do is start taking garbage freight and dropping their rates. Don't let desperation devalue your business. You're not just a driver, you're a logistics professional. Okay. Maintain your standards. Let your service be the reason they choose you and not the discount. Okay. Don't run cheap freight, man. Just don't do it. Now, a lot of times what will happen is you will see cheap freight sitting out there that doesn't have to be moved. There's no time frame on it. It just needs to get from point A to point B at some point. And you're going to see, like $1 a mile on it or less. And let it sit. If it don't pay, let it stay. If it don't pay, let it stay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert. And final thoughts on this. Okay. Do we have any questions? No questions. Okay. So final thoughts are prepare, persist, and prosper. So here's your checklist, folks. Build during the boom, during the flow. Survive the slow. Stick to your values. Adapt before you're forced to. And always, always keep it moving. Okay? You're not going to hit a grand slam every time you get up to bat. And sometimes you just have to take one and go. Don't make it something you do every day. So listen, if there's no more questions, this is this episode. If this hits home for you, do me a favor, share it, subscribe, shoot me a message with your own question for the next Q&A. This is Bryan with DD214 Transport. Please. There we go. There you go. Thank you guys for coming. Look, can I go say hello? Who's all here? Anybody here? Nice. Kelly. Good evening. And we got Jay Ford in the house. We got Jan. Hope everybody's doing well. So, you know, things, again, you know, prepare, be able to adapt and overcome, and keep your head right. And that a lot of windshield time will give you negative thoughts if you ride them down the road with you. They'll turn into a bitch that's sitting beside you in the cab and you can't get her out. Okay. All right, guys. Love your family. It's Bryan with DD214 Transport. Like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notification, and we will see you next week. Okay. Bye.
Jeans and a 4x4, cruising down your front door. From a full six-pack and a whiskey neat, some dive bar right up the street. I'm a good old boy and a country star. No one else can go this far. Come on, babe, go with me. Riding high, living free. Don't ask once and don't think twice, 'cause baby, I'm living the life. I'm a western swing on an old jukebox, a tailgate party in a parking lot. I'm rowdy, rough, big and grown. I get it done all on my own. I'm a good old boy and a country star. No one else can go this far. Come on, babe, and go with me. Riding high, living free. Don't ask once and don't think twice, 'cause baby, I'm living the life. I'm a cowboy hat, a ripped up shirt, tractor pulling out in the dirt. Hot cup of coffee with a cigarette, pretty little thing sitting